thank you all for joining today's webinar. This is the What's New in the Q2 2024 release. So we'll be covering what's new in the latest release for Sugar. I will be covering the aspects of the cloud release for Q2 2024. It is also known as the 14.0 release for the cloud products. With that, before we jump in, let's start with a few housekeeping items. So this is a listen-only webinar. If you have questions, go ahead and put it into the webinar chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that as we go throughout the content. So if you do have questions, feel free to put them in there. And then depending on how much time we have left over at the end, I'm happy to unmute folks if they have questions and we can address those towards the end of the session. But I do want to make sure that we have time to go through all the new features that are going to be available. And then we are recording, as I mentioned a moment ago. So I will be sending this to everyone who is here live today, as well as those that registered but weren't able to attend. So I'll be sending that out later today and posting it to Sugar Club as well. So with that, let's go ahead and I'll quickly introduce myself. So for those that are not familiar or haven't met me yet, I am Bree Rowe. I'm the Senior Director of Product Education and Community here at Sugar. I've been with Sugar for quite some time, but I'm excited to walk you all through what's new in our latest release today, and hope to see some familiar faces in the list there in one of our next upcoming Sugar Club events, one of our social clubs or another webinar. In terms of our agenda for today's session, I am going to be covering what's new in Sugar Market, Sugar Sell, Sugar Serve, Sugar Identity, our self-service, and then I'll talk a little bit about what's new in the Sugar Mobile App and what's in our Sugar Connect app with this release. So the mail, also known as the mail and calendar integration. I'll also talk a little bit about Release Central, which is the hub for all things release related in Sugar Club towards the end. And then as promised, we'll open up for Q&A. All right, starting with Sugar Market. And I do want to note, if we do have anyone that's using Enterprise on the line or is hosting Sugar on-premise, we did have a separate webinar. Hopefully you all caught it, but if not, let me know in the chat and I'll be happy to send that over to you. I know they recorded it, but there was a session dedicated specifically to all of the on-premise customers that covers everything you'll be getting in the 14.0 release, as it is a wrap up of all the other cloud releases for you all. So if you're hoping to get that information, I will just be covering the cloud products, but I can definitely share that link with you after today's session. So probably doesn't hurt to know, but definitely happy to send that. That would be a little bit more geared towards y'all. Okay, perfect. I see a few folks that are looking for that. So I'll be sure to send that over after today's session. But thanks for joining. Okay, so with Sugar Market, what is new more recently is the lead and contact resubscription. So in a prior release, we made it so that it's a little bit easier for you to basically add users to Guarded Watch. And with that, you had to reach out to customer support. So we've continued to improve this in that there's now a mechanism to, if a contact has added themselves to or unsubscribed, you can basically resubscribe them from the contact card in Sugar Market. So as you saw on the screen there, there's a contact, Patricia, she's unsubscribed. We're able to go to the menu there. There's an option to resubscribe. And basically that's going to send an email to that contact with a link to the preference page, and basically they can go through and update their preferences as needed. So this is a much easier process for you all as customers. So it's great to see that that's in the product now. Moving into the next set of products, I do have Enterprise listed there, but we're primarily looking at Sugar Sell and Sugar Serve. I will call out there are some differentiators between the different cell editions that we have. So if it is specific to one of the cell editions, I'll be sure to call that out so that you're aware of which edition it's available in. So the first is the Predict Dashlets on the focus doors and previews. So this is a Cell Advanced specific feature. You do need the guided selling capability in order for this to be available to you. But what it is essentially the leads conversion and prediction and the opportunity close prediction dashlets are now added or can be added to focus drawers. So we wanted to make these more accessible and make predictive insights easier to surface within SugarCell. So you can now do that by adding these dashlets in new places throughout the platform. So again, you can add them to the focus drawer or the dashlet preview. This just gives you direct line and insights into valuable predictions regarding your opportunities or lead conversions. So it's great to have that more accessible and visible within those areas. Okay, this would be a nice feature for on-prem user. Will this be available? Not to my knowledge at this point in time, but we can definitely take a look deeper into that. I do know that it is specific to cloud customers for the time being, though. I can see if there's any future plans around that. It's a great question. Okay, next we have the comment log is available in the quotes module and all preview layouts. So we've essentially improved the usability of the comment log. So it's always been available in certain places, but now you have the ability to add it to the quotes module layouts, as well as within the preview. So if you're familiar with the preview button on a record, you can now add that field to that preview layout. So it's a little bit easier to see that information without having to drive directly into the record itself. And we've also added a scroll bar. So a vertical scroll bar will appear on the comment log field just to help preserve space and allow you to view all the comments for a record when there's a lot of entries within that comment log. So again, trying to create a centralized area to kind of document changes and see that information and make it easier to have that visible, whereas it wasn't as flexible before. So as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen there, I'm actually going through the admin panel, configuring the module, the context module in this scenario, and we're adding that comment log field to that right-hand side preview there. So it's an editable layout that you can make changes to. And then you'll see that once I go through and view, we now have the comment log available on the right-hand side. So quick and easy change that you can now make. So definitely be sure to keep that in mind for all the admins that are out there. All right, next we've added additional list view filters. So I feel like for the last few releases, a lot of folks have had usability requests in regards to adding new list view filters or different filters for different areas. So we've heard that we are, slowly rolling them into the product in different areas. So you now have the ability to use the filter operators after today and before today when filtering a date or date time field. And then we've also added a contains operator that can be used when filtering a text area field. So you see in the screenshots there, in the accounts module, I am searching the description, which is a text area field, using the contains operator, and I'm able to type the information in there and it'll source or pull up anything that matches that specific field. And then on the right-hand side for opportunities, we're looking at expected close date, which is a date field, and we're using the after today option. So a lot more flexibility, makes it easier to search those items. And I do want to note that these are available in the cases, leads, opportunities, and tasks modules. Okay, so something new to use and test out as you're searching. Next, we have our users module dashboards. So we updated the users module in the last release. And in addition to the changes that we made previously, which have, updated the UI, it's got a nice new look and feel, you now have access to an active user and group user dashlet on the right-hand side. So previously that was empty. There really wasn't a lot going on there. So now by default, you'll have access to see that information. The nice thing about this too is that you can easily glance at the number of group users and or click into them, and a drawer will appear on the screen. So you're able to view or, dig into that information without having to navigate away from the screen that you're on. So just trying to make improvements to the overall UI for admins when managing users within the users module. Let that play for a second there. In addition to this, we've also added role-specific dashboards and dashboard templates. This to me was the most exciting piece of the release. As someone who teaches the reporting class here at Sugar, noting that we now have new dashlet templates. So if I highlight those here on the screen, there are 6 new role-based dashboard templates that can be accessed from the left-hand menu. I'll go through each of these, but we've tried to create them for the most common roles that we see. So there's a BDR dashboard, customer success, an executive dashboard, marketing, sales manager, and a sales rep dashboard. So those are all templates that can be used. The nice thing about these is that right out the gate, when you start using Sugar, I know we've probably got a lot of existing customers on board, but the nice thing about this is that dashboards is an area where you essentially had somewhat of a blank canvas previously, which is nice because if you know exactly what you're wanting to build, you have the flexibility to do that. For those that aren't quite sure what they want to see, or they're interested in seeing what others might be using, these templates were actually built based off of an internal project where our solution consultant team partnered with our product team and services to come up with the dashboards that they were creating time and time again for customer demos or projects. And so we've taken kind of all the best practices that we've seen from the field and took a stab at building them into the product for you. So the nice thing is you can use them, reference them. I've got them highlighted here in the dashboards view. And then to back these up, there's 166, it sounds like a lot, but there's 166 report templates. So these are canned reports that are available to you. They are marked with a template checkbox that you see there so that you know that those are stock reports that are now referring to what were stock reports as templates. But those are all available to you as cloud customers. And so basically you can use those, reference them, you can duplicate them. You don't have the ability to edit the dashboard, the role-based dashboards or the report templates. There is a guide, but the nice thing is you can duplicate them and make them your own if you'd like. So with that, I'll talk a little bit more about each of the dashboards briefly, show you some of the different dashes that are available on them, and then we'll jump into the next feature here. So in terms of what's available, I'll start with the executive dashboard. I'll say this is probably the largest of all of them. Makes sense because executives likely want to see a full view of what's going on within the company, right? So you can see that there are a number of different dashboards available. And again, the nice thing about this is that if you have data that is populated in these modules, the dashboards will automatically populate. So the dashboards are there. You can use and reference them as you like. Just to call out some of the interesting ones here, there's a sales leaderboard, deals this quarter, new cases opened by month so they can see what's going on with their support team if they're using cases. So a lot of great information that's surfaced and you really don't have to do anything. You're able to look at it on your dashboard, select it as one that you're viewing, and then as you have data that populates, you'll be able to see and view that information, which is really nice. So that's the first one, that's the executive dashboard. The next is the customer success dashboard. So this one is focused on account managers, those that are going to be managing accounts internally, making sure that they're healthy and happy. So you can see that this is focused on, what accounts they have assigned to them, what opportunities they have open, any cases that apply to those customers. So it's a little bit more geared towards those that are managing and renewing customers. give you a moment to look that over a little bit. And we do have a course, I'm giving you the flyby here. We do have a course that'll be released soon that deep dives into each of the dashboards and all of the dashboards that are available. So coming soon, keep an eye out for that. Next is the BDR dashboard. So this is for business development representatives, those who are, managing your leads, helping to pass those along to your sales reps. So this is primarily focused on marketing qualified leads, active tasks that they have open, where leads are coming from. So lead sources, their call activity, conversion rates, how far they are from their goals. So a lot of great content there. And I think something that would be, as someone who started off as a BDR, definitely something that's helpful to have set up for you from the gate. All right, next we have the sales manager dashboard. So as a sales manager, you obviously want a big picture of all the newly created leads in pipeline. You want to see how many quotes need approval, how many cases may have been escalated. So this is going to give you oversight into what your team has going on, the new leads that they're working on, anything that needs your approval. It's a quick glimpse at kind of what's going on in the status of your team. So some great information there as well. And again, these are templates. So they're the reason that we made it so that you're not able to edit them is because these are going to continue to expand and iterate on them as we go release over release. So we wanted to make it something that you can duplicate and use, but as we push out new updates or improvements, they're able to go directly into the templates without impacting anything you may have done to them. So again, if you want to make changes or remove some of them, add to them, you can do that through duplication. All right, next is the sales rep dashboard. So this presents leads, open opportunities, everything that a salesperson is most interested in. They're able to quickly understand the state of their work, how far are they from meeting their quota, and are able to focus on their efforts. So the tasks that they have open, what they've closed for the year, any sugar hint insights. So are there things that are happening within their prospects that they need to know about, anything that they need to address? All of that is easily visible from the homepage. Give you guys a moment to look at that, see if there's any questions. Looks like we're good. Okay, last but not least, we have the marketing dashboard. This gives users a sense of new leads that are coming into the CRM system. Where are they coming from? How are the marketing campaigns that are being sent working? So we've got some good information there. We've got our marketing qualified leads by period, sales qualified leads by month by rep. So great insights for those that are in marketing to have just an overall view of how things are going in terms of their prospects and the campaigns that are being run. And then Octopus, if you're not familiar with that, that is a tool that integrates with SugarMarket, and it allows you to essentially share social posts pretty easily as a company. So there's direct line of access to that from within the dashboard as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, again, we've got a deep dive course coming on that. We just recently did a social club about it. So I know some of you may have been on that, some familiar faces there, but definitely more to come on this. We've also got great documentation if you're curious or want to learn more about what's in those to date. Okay, from here, we are going to shift into something that is specific to Sell Premier. So if you have Sell Premier licenses, these are going to be features that are specific to you. So with that, we now have, in past releases, we released enhanced forecasting, which allows you to add Sugar Discover dashlets to your dashboard. However, at the time, dashboard filters, which was released in the last year, did not apply to Sugar Discover dashlets. So what we've done is we've made it so that where you have dashboards that have Sugar Discover dashlets or a mix of Discover dashlets and to sell dashlets, you have the ability to use the right-hand dashboard filters to filter on certain runtime filters within or where those overlap within the reports that are on your screen there. So nice, easy way to kind of up level the ability to use those dashboard filters. Because I know that was a pain point for those that were using Discover reports on their dashboards. So that's all available now. The other thing that we've done is we have, this is tied into enhanced forecasting as well, is where you have a report that's a pivot table. So you can see there in the screenshot, there is a pivot table here on the left. Previously, when you clicked into a record, you would be brought into a new screen. So what we've done is we have replaced that experience by opening a focus drawer. And in that focus drawer, you're able to see the information that applies to the record that you're clicking into. So again, great way to drill into the data without having to navigate away from the report. You can easily close the focus drawer when you are done with it and you're still there on the report screen. So a much better UI and experience for those that are using the pivot tables from Discover. All right, next we have Sugar Identity. So this is a quick one, but it's also pretty exciting. So for those that are using or have Sugar Identity enabled, a majority of the user data was only editable by admins prior to the 14.0 release. So anytime someone needed to make changes to user data, so for instance, someone who's in human resources, maybe they need to update employee information, they'd have to have full system access, meaning that they were made a full admin in order to just edit a few fields. So to make it a better experience and to make sure that we're not opening up the system to just everyone that needs access to only changing a few fields, there's a new role that's been created. It's called Users, Teams, and Roles. You can see me highlight that here on the screen. And you have the ability now to make a user an admin or developer, combination of the two, to allow them to make changes to users, teams, and roles. So in the scenario where you have someone that is in human resources, now essentially if you make them or grant them developer access, they're able to go in and make changes to fields. If you want them to have the ability to change what roles the user is assigned or what team they belong to, have visibility into all of the different options there, then you can grant them admin and developer access. So once you've assigned that role, you can add users to that role, and then they'll have the ability to go in and make changes where needed for Sugar Identity. So a great add for those that may need it. All right, next we have SelfService. This is another exciting one. So for Serve customers that are using the SelfService Center, we have made it such that you have the ability to configure the SelfService Center theme. So this is the first pass at having the theming available. You can change some of the primary colors of the links and buttons, including the login screen. You also have the ability to change the app name. So this is what will appear on the menu next to the logo, as well as on the login screen. So by default, the name is obviously SelfService Center, but you do have the ability to change that now. You also have the ability to paste a different direct URL, change the favicon, the home background coloring and all of that. So there's a lot that can be done there. I've, just kind of covered the tip of the iceberg in regards to what can be done for theming there. But if you do want to update the look and feel of the SelfService Center, you now have the theming options available to do just that. So for those that are using it, you can go ahead and check that out and make it match your branding a bit more. All right. Well, next we've got, it's not our last one. We've got one more after this. So for the mobile app, for those that are using the mobile app, what we've done is we've made it easier for you to create a quote, essentially. So prior to this release, the product list, when you're creating a quote, was not automatically filtered by only those products that had a status of active. So obviously, if you're sending a quote, you only want to be quoting on active items or active things that can be sold, products. And so you, by default now, that'll be available. So it'll be much quicker and easier for folks to create quotes while on the road or in the field. So a great change for those that are field or sales reps. And then last but not least, we have Sugar Connect, or the mail and calendar integration for Sugar. This one is, just as we've gone through the year, we've been updating our products to have the left-hand navigation that matches the other sell, serve, market products. So Connect now does the same. There is now a consistent appearance across products. And so it is collapsible. It's got the same look and feel. You've got all the different modules that are available there. So as we like to call it internally, we were making it more sugary. It looks more sugary than it did before. So that is one of the updates to the Connect portal. In terms of usability for users, we've also made it so that you can access the meeting scheduler from the sidebar. So you can see in the bottom of the left screenshot there, I have the calendar icon highlighted. Clicking on that will allow you to then see what available meeting types can be created. So what used to take 7 clicks essentially can now be done with 2 clicks, and you don't have to leave your mailbox. So really focused on adoption and making things a lot quicker and easier to access. All right, and that covers what we had in this release. I haven't seen many questions come in just yet, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about Sugar Club and Release Central, some of the changes that we've made there this past release. And if you do have questions, please feel free to put them into the chat there, and I'll be sure to address them or unmute you and you can ask questions. So quickly though, as always, there's more to learn in Sugar Club. So we do have the Release Central page. If you're not familiar with it, this is the hub for all things releases at Sugar. And our team goes and updates that on a quarterly basis. But as we have new content added throughout the quarter, because we do have products that release, multiple times within a quarter, we always add new links and information to these pages. One of the changes we made, I do want to point out here, we previously had the quarters tied to these tiles here at the top, and this is a little bit confusing for folks. So what we've done is the month and year that release was published, those are the drivers behind the different tiles here at the top. So everything that we just talked about today for the 14.0 release, or Q2 2024, is going to be listed under the April 2024 release. But you do have the ability to go back to our previous release, which was in January, and the one prior to that, which was in October. We've also added, I don't have a screenshot of it, but the other thing that we did add was kind of a high-level overview at the very top of the page. So at the very top, if you just want kind of a high-level look at what's in each release, the high-level, the cliff notes, I'd like to call it, that's all available here at the very top of the page, but then you do still have the ability to scroll down and view by product and role. So all of the anchors at the top of the page will bring you down to more information, but there's a lot of great links, blog posts, help articles, upcoming events, tips and tricks. Any new courses that we have, I mentioned that there will be the addition of the role-specific dashboards. A course for that. Once that's published, it'll be available under training and certification, but we'll also link it here. So looks like there is a question. So I'll go ahead and address those as they've come in here. So with that, the question is, do you have webinars available for Sugar Connect you could share with me? we go for Connect till summer and some training material before. Yes, I've got a bunch of content. We have some recorded webinars as well as some courses. So I'll be sure to send those over to you so you have access to those in preparation for summertime. Happy to share that with you. No problem. Any other questions or anyone that wanted to unmute and ask a question? Happy to do that. If you want to let me know in the chat, I can address as needed. We'll hang out here for a few more moments to see if there's any additional questions. But if not, then we'll go ahead and close out. All right. Looks like you guys are good. I don't see any hands raised or any additional questions. I thank you for joining today for the time and attention, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch up soon. All right. Thanks all. Take care.